The game plan for March is going to be no different than the game plan for January and for February. And so far, we're 2 months into the new year, and there are a couple things that are definitely emerging as trends to stick with. And even though I have the NASDAQ up here, it's not necessarily the NASDAQ that I'm going to say is the leader or the lone spot for bullish plays, right? So let's go through index sector stock, and then I'm also going to go through what we did today in the Mastery and in the Simpler Central room, and we'll cover that as well. So first of all, it's easy to stay bullish the NASDAQ. I certainly don't want to be bearish. There are two reasons the NASDAQ continues to be moving to the upside, and I'm going to move this 5-minute chart aside and just take a look at the 60 and the 1 hour. By the way, for those of you wondering, Rag, what is that text on the left side? Anytime I do a session, we keep notes. If you're not actively keeping notes, let me encourage you to do so, because it's going to do a couple things for you. One, you'll be able to go back and look at the very things you were thinking about and focusing on for the trading day, and that's a great way to troubleshoot and improve the process, right? And then for me, I know that traders won't miss what it is we want to trade and why, and ultimately our alerts too, because we send out the swing alerts, we send out the position portfolios, but when we're day trading, sometimes it's easy to miss those. I'm not going to call an audible. We put everything in those notes. So if you are getting these notes, please take full advantage of them. It's the best thing to cracking open my brain and knowing why I'm doing what I'm doing that I can offer. All right. Why is the NASDAQ moving higher? SMH and XLC, right? Now, SMH, full disclosure, we just built a long position in Taiwan Semi today. And SMH was moving a little bit lower into the close. And, look, I will say that this is going to be a little tricky. SMH is very much an NVIDIA conversation, but after NVIDIA's waiting in the SMH is Taiwan Semi, and the idea was to buy into the daily price movement range, all right? Now, the idea of buying into a daily price movement range is taking advantage of historical volatility. And, just giving you an idea of where the fills were for the trade here, really anywhere between kind of $3 on the ups on the high side and about $2.85, right? And of that cost, I'm going to risk 25% premium. So we're not talking about a full 100% max debit situation, right? I don't hate my money. I know you don't either. So we're risking about 25%. The real risk here is that for whatever reason we gap open, because there's clearly nothing I can do if there's a hole on the chart. And that really is, in terms of any kind of issue with overnight positions, gaps are the only really issue. That's the only real problem. The other trade that we took today is very much tethered to crude oil futures and to energy. Crude oil's been definitely climbing. So if you're looking at optimism in a commodity that is trading above last year's open, you can see the 2023 open here, and we're continuing to move higher. We're doing some battle with the 200. We're starting to see consistency in the green grab candles, and while not a consistent trend quite yet, certainly more bullish than not. And if crude oil is moving higher, the first place we're going to look is energy. So crude oil futures, buying the daily price movement range, cool. Energy, XLE, actually has a better trend, right? So I like crude oil. I'm certainly not bearish. And then notice the uptrend on XLE, which brings us to the top 2 weighted stocks in XLE. We took a position in Chevron today. And again, the alignment is overall economic optimism. Lower rates are coming. XLE is up. And Chevron traded into the daily price movement range. So this is very much crude oil futures, right, to XLE, to Chevron. And that's your index sector stock. But instead of index, it's the commodity. There's your sector. There's your number 2 weighted stock in the XLE. So the alignment is there, and that's what we want to take advantage of. So we have those two. Those two positions were built today. Now, in the meanwhile, we're also day trading. And you can see here in the notes what we were focused on. Not just a crude oil trade at the very end of the morning session, but also KRE and QQQ. QQQ moved really fast, and I'm going to talk about KRE because that's the primary fill for this morning. Now, for those of you wondering what the heck's going on with the Russell, what the heck's going on with the Russell is KRE had a really good day. It's one day within the midst of a non-trending regional bank sector, right? So the idea here was to buy KRE, as you can see, 47 call. When it trades down to 47.72, that window of opportunity opened right in here shortly after the bell, took that ride higher, and that's it, right? That's a nice day trade. And those are things that are going to supplement our trading pipeline in between swings, right? And this is what I really want to continue to focus on. The focus has to be, though, as we go into the remainder of the week. You can see we've got GDP tomorrow at 8:30, and we have, scrolling through, PCE on Thursday. Now, my Sector Secrets Mastery folks, we will have a bonus session, 8:15 to 8:45, to talk about this PCE release. Also, take a look at the S&P and NASDAQ futures, the hourly price movement range, and obviously any kind of macroeconomic fallout after the Federal Reserve's favorite inflation indicator is released. So as we go into the premium video that I'm going to cut here in just a moment, let's focus on where we are quarter to date in terms of relative outperformance. This is something we talked about extensively in the Simpler Central Room, as well as the Sector Secrets Mastery. This is a quarter to date view of normalized performance, obviously led by NVIDIA. SMH continues to outperform, and that's another reason Taiwan Semi made a lot of sense. We have two of the four heavily weighted sectors, the NASDAQ, in the number 1 and number 2 spot. And then you can see here, healthcare, financials, and in the number 5 spot, the third, and actually the third sector within the NAS and the number 1 weighted sector, XLK. There's a reason the NASDAQ continues to outperform, right? But keep an eye on what's happening within this list. You've got healthcare and financials. Financials continue to be one of the best corners of the broader markets because you've got financials heavily weighted in the Dow, financials heavily weighted within the S&P, and you've got names like JP Morgan, Wells Fargo, Visa, American Express. Those are some of my favorites. And so as long as healthcare is strong, that's going to support the S&P, which at the moment is outperforming the NAS. And we have financials definitely in a spot where buy the dip makes a lot of sense. So this is what we're still using to guide where we're looking for follow through, where we're looking for opportunity. All right, so in the premium video, I'm going to break down some of our watch lists, and then we'll get into some setups that we want to focus on going into GDP and PCE this week. Thanks as always for watching. Smash that like button, and I'll see you in the next update. Hey traders, Raghee from Simpler Trading. Thank you so much for watching this video. Be sure to leave a like and a comment below. And remember, subscribe and click the bell icon so you'll get notified of the next update. And when you're ready to join me for live trading, be sure to head on over to simplertrading.com. I'll see you in the next update.